So how do you manage multiple different accounts and still say a little bit sane? Comment comes from, I am not sure how to pronounce that one, but we'll go with it. Really enjoyed this video and have seen your content prior to this on TikTok. Fun stuff. I was just wondering if you have any advice on managing potentially, over here, multiple channels. I'm trying to pursue a gaming and fashion content channel as both big interests of mine, and I imagine balancing the two can be incredibly taxing, and everyone only has so much mental capacity. Any help would be much appreciated. Well, if you want advice on how to run multiple accounts, I feel like you're in the right place, being as I've currently got 7 TikToks and 4 YouTubes and an Instagram that I try to upload to each and every day on some amount of a schedule. So let me go through my method, bearing in mind that mine's a little bit mental because I don't really do the balance thing. I'm a firm believer that if you want something to succeed in terms of a business style thing, you often have to forego balance for quite a while. Typically, in business terms, you'll have growth periods and maintenance periods. And typically to get to a maintenance period, you need to have had a growth period first. And in that growth period is often not very much balance. So right now, I'm definitely in a growth period. At some point, I will need some sort of mental recharge and I'll have to just go maintenance mode for a bit where I'm not necessarily pushing for growth and trying to do everything all at once. Because like you said, there's only so much mental capacity that everybody has got. And I'm in a position where this is my full-time job, so I have the ability to put more time into it than a regular person does. So, assuming you're a regular person with a job outside of social media and you're trying to run 2 different accounts, for example, what I would do is create yourself a upload schedule. Your upload schedule is likely to be determined by your ability to consistently do that without it burning you out. That might look different for every individual every individual creator on the platform. Some creators, their content takes so long to produce that 1 a month is about all they can max. It all sort of depends what you're physically capable of doing based upon your personal situation in life. If you've got a particularly stressful life outside of your social medias, you're going to have less brain space to attribute to things like this, which is again fair enough. Maybe a smart move for yourself would be to take a look at your day, take a look at what hours you have available and where you can allocate them. So say, for example, you've got your regular work day that is allocated through, say, 9 to 5, but then you've got a couple of hours here and there. Maybe you say that at this time every day you knuckle down and you focus on account number 1, and then at this few hours you account to account number 2. And theoretically, depending on how many hours you're able to do and how much work things actually are, you might be able to schedule out more than 1 day in advance. So for example, a way that I stay on top of things is I will try to make so many videos that my videos are up and scheduled in advance so that if I do need to have the time off, I can, but I often just choose not to anyway. So for example, as I'm making this video right now, I could stop recording videos for the next 6 days and there would still be a video per day that went up on my main YouTube account. It would, because I've got that many scheduled just ready to go. And there's nothing to say that it will be equally split either. You don't necessarily have to do a video per day on both accounts because the content type often dictates the ease of creation of the video. For example, a gaming video is typically going to be easier to create every single day or multiple of than your fashion videos, because presumably the fashion, there's probably less to talk about. If we talk about what I'm doing right now, these videos that I'm doing right now are harder to keep coming up with videos about than my usual stuff, just because there's just potentially less total topics to cover. If we just look at my normal channel, for example, there's less, my ability to do CX hauls is going to be way less than my ability to do the Q&A style videos, because CX hauls cost real money and there's only so many things that I actually want to buy and go and get, So the content that you create will often determine the quantity at which you're able to create it, especially down to the process in terms of how long it takes to make those videos to begin with. Also, if you guys haven't already, please do subscribe. I have all this space on the blank wall over here for my several different accounts one day to have silver play buttons. Who knows? Maybe we'll get there. I'm going to also run you down a few different tips and tricks that I use, like tools and websites and planners and things like that, to help manage different accounts. You didn't necessarily specify whether we are talking about different accounts on YouTube or different accounts on TikTok here, but you can sort of pick and choose and adjust the tips based on what I say, I suppose. So first things first, assuming we're talking about TikTok here, TikTok has a desktop app that will allow you to schedule your posts. You can't schedule your posts through your phone, however, but you can schedule them through either the desktop app or the web browser version. Now, the reason that I do both of those is because on the desktop app, you can be signed into one account, and then on the web browser version, say you open TikTok on Google Chrome, you can be signed into a different account. So you can be signed into 2 accounts and scheduled to each set simultaneously that way. I have also in the past used different paid services. Again, when you've only got a couple, you probably don't need to necessarily be doing this, but there are different paid services that you can pay for that will do your scheduling for you, where you tell it when you want your videos to upload every day. You upload your videos to it, you tick a box to which profile you wish things to go, and it'll send them out. So for example, there's a website called Vista Social. This is not sponsored, but Vista Social is the one that I have always used, where, for example, if I want one video to go to the same profile but on different websites. So for example, say I upload a video and I want it to go to my Instagram Reels, my YouTube Shorts, and my TikTok. I can set up each profile, link it to Vista Social, tick a box, upload it, and it'll send it to each one at the time that I've predetermined told it to. And that is pretty helpful in terms of time saving, because it'll send the same thing to several different places at once, and all you've got to do is tick a box. Next up, in terms of things like managing your analytics, something else that I have noticed is different Chrome tabs. If you say, for example, we're doing YouTube now, different Chrome tabs will let you stay signed in to different accounts. So for example, with me uploading between my various different accounts, I don't have to manually sign in and out of each one each time I want to do it. I just leave a Chrome tab per account open and it will stay on that YouTube channel without me having to switch between. So when it comes time to upload this, I'll go find the tab that I'm signed into Cayle Grows on and stick this video up. It's the same thing with something else you can do there is your analytics pages, so YouTube Studio. You can be signed into one, you could on your phone be on YouTube Studio on one of your accounts, and on the browser be on YouTube Studio on another. So again, it's a way of shortening the amount of work that you've potentially got to do that way. Assuming that you're editing your video, something else that you're going to want to do is within whatever editing software you choose to use, you're going to want to create yourself shortcuts that you can do things quickly. So for example, I have got my split key just on S, so I've only got to press that rather than right-click split or anything else like that. I have got automatic captions put on D, so all I've got to do is press D and it will automatically caption my entire timeline. I'm personally using DaVinci Resolve because it's my favourite one, because you pay for it once and never again. There is a free version of DaVinci Resolve, but it just doesn't have all of the features. I'm personally not a fan of Premiere Pro, just because of their payment models. I ended up having to go full Karen mode out them once to stop them charging me, but yeah, my favorite editing software is DaVinci Resolve, but if you're just beginning and things like that, CapCut will do. CapCut also has auto captioning and all that sort of thing. And CapCut actually has a better reframing ability, I think, than DaVinci does in terms of speed. Reframing a 16:9 widescreen video into a vertical video, say for your short form content, by the way. Let's just speak about the brain space part of this, because I think that is important. It is very easy when you're managing more than one thing at once to burn out. And again, that is why I think having potentially forced periods of maintenance and growth are two important things to consider. So for example, right now I'm in like 200%, I'm trying to grow everything all at once. I'm trying to non-stop work all day, every day grind mode, but fully aware that doesn't last forever. It comes in waves. And at some point, to maintain my own mental health and sanity and ability to do this long term, I will also have to go to maintenance mode. And for you, maybe that's something you can like pre-schedule in. Maybe you graft for a week so that you can take a week off. You graft for a week, take a week off. But in terms of your actual content, you won't notice that there's been a week off because you schedule it in advance. So for example, when I went on holiday last month, if I never actually mentioned it, nobody would have known because I scheduled out that week's content in advance. Use the scheduling feature on various different platforms is incredibly powerful because it lets you take time off as long as you work double hard beforehand. And I think that is often a smart move. But another part of it is understanding that it is going to be difficult to grow and there will always be somebody trying to outwork you. So trying to work as hard as you possibly can is always a good idea. Granted that you do need to be careful of burning out and you will need to take mental health breaks, but understand that that is an expected part of the process when it comes to social media. You're not always going to be growing. You're not always going to be able to focus on everything. A jack of all trades is usually a master of none. For example, like I have barely uploaded to my fitness account in like 2 years because I've just been for 2 years focusing on everything else. You know, you can't be focusing on everything all at once, but if you've only got 2 things to focus on, you can pretty evenly split that and not struggle too much. It's when you put so many things on your plate that there's just so much little time that can be allocated to each one per day that things start to struggle. And in that instance, another smart move could be maybe 1 week you focus on one account, another week you focus on another, and keep going backwards and forwards like that. Or in my instance, what I try and do is I will rotate my videos between accounts. So for example, this video is being for Cayle Grows. When I'm done here, I'm going to go and film one for Cayle Vlogs. When I'm done there, I'll go and film one for Cayle Plays, and just keep cycling through like that. That's the way I do things. I should probably touch upon this one, but when you're trying to have a period of time that you're going to like work hard in terms of like right now, put the phone down, like throw it away from you. I have found that a lot of people can get very distracted by their phone, and very quickly that eats into the time that they otherwise would have allotted to whatever it is that they're trying to do. It's especially hard for us as content creators because often our phone is our work, but like this is why some content creators will have a work phone even though their work is social media. They'll have a phone that is specifically for like consuming content, or a phone that is specifically for creating content, or they'll stick the phone in do not disturb or something like that. Try to, when you're trying to have a period of work during your like day, to specifically have that be about the work and you don't get distracted, because you'll be surprised how much you can get done. Like most days at like midnight, once my partner's gone to sleep, I will then from like midnight until like 3 a.m. just grind. And like twice recently, between midnight and 3 a.m, I've managed to schedule like 4 or 5 days worth of videos in the space of 3 hours. So like do that a few times and you can be so far prepared and so well adjusted to it that you are doing all right, you know? So I guess my key takeaways here are scheduling is pretty important for managing more than one account, especially not just in two form factors. Scheduling in terms of actually looking at your like life and how many hours per day you can feasibly commit to things and it be realistic with whatever your circumstances in life are. And then literally scheduling within the various different apps that will let you schedule. So YouTube lets you schedule whether it's your phone or whether it's your PC. TikTok lets you schedule when it's on your PC. And again, the different tips in terms of staying signed in on various different things to make it easier so that you're not having to like sign in and out on various different places and programs and such. So yeah, didn't specify whether it was TikTok or YouTube, but I think I've tried to cover the different tips and tricks that I would use for both, that I do use for both. Another one is with your thumbnails, actually. So I have with thumbnails, create a bit of a formula. So if I show you my Canva for a second, if I can find it, hang on. I always have one page open on Canva at any given time that contains all my various different thumbnail types, so that I can then just jump between them, changing the elements of them. So for example, I've got the one where it's my screenshot of the background and then I edit on a random picture of me, give it a glow and change the text. I've got the one where it's an actual screenshot from the video, which is more common, where it's text on top of each other, always red and white, versus text left to right. I've got the one where I'll have a game, but it's in the room. Here's another one where I'm off to the right and the writing's on the side. That's another style I do. I use these images quite a lot in my videos, so I never delete them. And then for Cayle plays, I use this one that I just alter the number, the picture, and the photo for. Anything you can do to sort of streamline your own process and make your own life easier in between making videos is always going to be a pretty smart choice to make your own life quicker. Everything down to upload defaults on YouTube is another one, so that you don't have to constantly be redoing descriptions and your links and all that sort of thing. As many things as you can possibly automate and have be a default setting so that they occur without effort is always going to be a win. So yeah, shortcuts in your editing software, build those in. Make your folders laid out the way that they're most efficient. So for example, right here, I've got all my YouTube videos. If I go down here, to my YouTube questions tab, I have every question that I could possibly reply to. Whenever I get a comment that I'm thinking that could make a good video, I screenshot the comment, whether it be on my phone or whether it be on my PC, and I stick it in here in a Dropbox folder, so it's really easy for me to get to. This is, the more efficient you can be, the less time it's going to suck up and the less thought process there is. Because often that is a real reason why things burn out. Like, if you actually look at most content creators, you'll see that they have a pattern in uploads. They'll have a pattern with their thumbnails. They'll have a pattern with their length of video. They'll have a pattern with the format. And it's just little things that change video to video in terms of like the actual content of said video. But the format of said videos is typically around about the same if you actually average it out over the course of maybe 3 to 5 videos. Some creators will have a few different formats, granted, but they will have some sort of rhyme and reason. That way, their own process can be a little bit smooth rather than starting from absolute zero in absolutely everything, if that makes sense. Anyway, hope that was helpful, and I shall see you next time.